distraction!
Hello, hello. Okay, you're back. Had a nice little lie down. Like, there's a difference between I'm sitting here for 3 minutes and scrolling, getting back into it, and having a nice little 15-minute lie down and scrolling. All right. Okay. That's saved. Yes. Crazy that we're having a break in between sessions on the first case of an Ace Attorney game. Doesn't usually happen. This isn't exactly how I envisioned the second day of this trial to start, but given how things ended yesterday. Good morning. The mood sure is tense, not that that's any surprise. Oh, hey, did you read the paper this morning, boss? Huh? The paper? That came out of left field. You didn't read it? Then you don't know the big news. Somebody spotted an abominable snowman way up in the mountains. Tell me you know the difference between a paper and a tabloid, Athena. It might show up in the forest where you live, Junie. So you better watch out, okay? You really should read the story for yourself. I couldn't even begin to do it justice. Justice? Huh? Oh. Oh, poor Apollo. And it's all my fault. Athena! Oh, Junie! Oh, what was I thinking? I'm so sorry. What we found yesterday was not Apollo's dead body, thank goodness. He'd been assaulted by someone with a blow to his head and was lying unconscious. We rushed him to the hospital right away, and it looks like he's going to pull through. Bro, Apollo's just taking L's at the start of this fucking game. But it was still quite a shock to stumble onto a scene like that. Is Miss Woods alright, Athena? Well, I managed to get her to stop crying. Now she's rested on that sofa over there. I guess she really feels responsible for what happened to Apollo. Poor Junie. She believes that the reason Apollo was attacked is because he was helping her look for something in that courtroom. Oh? Guess I can see why she'd think that. By the way, how are you doing? Who, me? Yeah, you. I know you're concerned about Miss Woods, but are you alright? Me? I'm doing just fine, boss. I mean, yeah, it was a huge shock, but I'm alright. People who've studied analytical psychology are great at times like these. After all, they've learned how to control their own emotions too. Somehow I don't think it's as easy as she makes it sound, but there's no denying she's a real trooper. Apollo doesn't remember a thing, does he? Yeah, he can't recall anything from the time right before he was assaulted. Nothing about what he was doing in courtroom number 4 or who assaulted him. The doctor said it's probably due to that hit he took to the head. Assaulted in a court of law and losing your memory at that. I know how that feels. Oh, yeah. Throwback to game number 2. First case of game number 2. Or 3. But I know what case I'm talking about. It happened. But who in the world would do such a thing, huh, Mr. Wright? Just wait till I get my hands on the coward who hurt our Apollo. Now, Athena, I thought you said you were in control of your own emotions. Let's just focus on helping Mr. Woods, okay? But I admit, I'm just as upset as you. Alright, boss, you're right. Apollo's assailant can wait until after we clear Junie's name. That's the spirit. Now, let's see. Actually, hold on. I was just about to, actually. Assaulted during the trial yesterday. This is going to be okay. She apparently lives in a forest. Sweet. After Mr. Wright, I'm ready whenever you are. Alright, let's get ready to rumble. You bet. With everything that happened with Apollo, I didn't have time for a proper investigation. I can't let that stop me though. I have to get this right for Mrs. Wood's sake, and Apollo's too. December 18th. All rise. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Juniper Woods. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready, Your Honor. Now then. I forgot the voice I gave the judge. It's gone now. I'll have to find it again. I believe I instructed the prosecution to further their investigation. Were you able to locate the remote switch in question? I'm afraid the remote switch is still missing, Your Honor. I must say I'm disappointed, Mr. Payne. But not angry, just disappointed. I apologize, Your Honor. Looks like the prosecution is just as unprepared as I am. There is a separate matter, however, that I would like to bring up during this trial. A separate matter, you say? And what might that be? I assume you're aware that another incident occurred during yesterday's trial? I'm speaking, of course, of the assault of Mr. Justice in the rooms of courtroom number 4. Uh-oh, why is he bringing that up? Yes, what a truly harrowing experience it must have been. Poor Mr. Justice. At the time of the attack, Mr. Justice was not alone. He was with the defendant, Miss Juniper Woods. He isn't going where I think he's going with this, is he? The prosecution wishes to indict Miss Woods on the charge of Mr. Justice's assault. Order! Order in the court! Mr. Payne, the incident under deliberation here is the courtroom bombing. The assault of Mr. Justice has nothing to do with this trial. But I believe there is a connection between this case and Mr. Justice's assault. Please take a moment to consider these facts. Both events occurred in courtroom number 4. This is the location in courtroom number 4 where the unconscious Mr. Justice was discovered. As you can see, it is quite close to where Detective Arm's body was found. The question is, why did the culprit feel the need to maliciously attack Mr. Justice? Why indeed? What do you believe their motive to be, Mr. Payne? I believe Mr. Justice found something in that courtroom while Mrs. Wood was with him. Evidence that fingered her as the... That's crazy. that use of the word. As the perpetrator of the bombing. You mean he found some incriminating evidence? Precisely, and so I surmise that the defendant picked up a piece of rubble and hit Mr. Justice on the back of the head in order to silence him. Junie would never do such a thing! She was devastated when we found Apollo hurt like that. Miss Sykes, please control your outbursts. It is the prosecution's belief that by deliberating on Mr. Justice's assault, we will draw ever closer to the truth of the courtroom bombing itself. Very well. Miss Woods is hereby officially indicted on the charge of assaulting Mr. Justice. What? Why are you listening to Mr. Toupee over there? Although, considering our conversation yesterday, I think Apollo might have figured something out. Wonder what it was. He told me, I'm going to look for evidence to clear your name, Juniper. Maybe the two incidents really are related after all. I would like to start by hearing from the defendant herself. Very well. Bailiff, please bring Mrs. Woods to the witness stand. Oh, I should do this, actually. Oh, no, wrong page, wrong screen. Here, thank you. I'm sorry. I can't seem to stop. Miss Woods. Guess she's still really upset about Apollo. Miss Woods, you went to the ruins of courtroom number 4 with Mr. Justice, did you not? Yes, I did. Good, good. If you would then please testify about what happened to the court. During the trial yesterday, I was overcome by a fit of coughing. Apollo stayed with me and we went to the courtroom ruins together. But then I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony. Apollo insisted on staying behind in courtroom number 4. I swear I didn't attack Apollo. Why would I ever hurt such a kind person? So Mr. Justice stayed by your side while you were feeling unwell? What an admirable young man. I thought his loud voice was his only outstanding feature. He may look like a little imp at times, but Apollo can be really nice too. I hope she didn't hurt her wrist backhanding that one out. But one has to wonder, why did Mr. Justice stay behind in the ruins? I think Apollo might have figured something out. Something? What kind of something? Something to do with the courtroom bombing kind of something, I think. Oh, new evidence for the case, was it? That's a very big kind of something indeed. I believe so. He mentioned looking for some evidence while I was called away. Just as I thought, there is a connection between the two incidents, but the defendant has told a very big lie, Your Honor. What lie is that? When she learned Mr. Justice would be looking for evidence, she attacked him. She attacked him to give herself the chance to destroy that evidence. No, I never... Miss Woods repaid Mr. Justice's kindness with violence. What are we doing here? What actually are we doing here? We found the proof of our foul deed there in the courtroom ruins. What on earth? Everyone knows that this doesn't work. That could also just say doom. As doom. Doom. Upside down. Actually, no, it couldn't because the D is wrong way around. Do you see it? I'm trying to see something else there. There, in front of Mr. Justice's right hand, witness the message he left us. It is written in blood. Woods? Why isn't that? That's right, Your Honor. It said Woods in capital letters. What? I submit that Mr. Justice left us with the name of his attacker before he fainted. On God, that wasn't there when we found the body. No, that can't be true. Why would Apollo write my name? Mr. Wright, the nerve of him leaving that message. Why would he do this? Hey, don't take it out on me. I don't understand it any more than you do. When we discovered Apollo yesterday. He didn't even have a chance to rush over to him. As soon as the security heard Athena scream, they ran in and cordoned off the area. After that, they were in the courtroom number 4 with Apollo the entire time. We couldn't investigate anything ourselves and had to leave everything to the police. Still, I never thought they would find some bloody writing there. Now then, please begin your cross-examination of Mr. Wright. Alright, during the house, came over a bit of a coughing. Apollo stayed with me when we went to the room together, but when I was called back to this courtroom to give testimony, he insisted on staying behind in the courtroom. I swear I didn't attack him. He's so kind. Look, it's obvious Junie didn't attack Apollo. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Right, I agree. They must have gone to look for Bumrat Riney together, but why did they need to find it so badly that they go through all that trouble? Better try and find out more.
Hold it!
Why exactly did you go to the courtroom ruins? We went to look for my medicine to stop my coughing. Your medicine? Why would your medicine be in courtroom number 4? I dropped it in the heat of the moment. Bumrat Riney, he was keeping my medicine safe for me. He has a little compartment that I can put things in, you see. And Phony Fanty has the same type of pocket. That's where the bomb was inserted. I put my medicine for my coughing fits inside Bumrat Riney. But when I told Apollo about it, he said he'd help me go look for him. There was so much rubble in there, I was worried, but there was no rubble or anything in front of the witness stand. So when we got inside, Apollo went straight there. He started looking for my Riney in that area. It was so nice of him to do that for me, in spite of all his injuries. Apollo is so strong and kind, just like the trees of the forest. The way she makes him sound, you'd think Apollo was some kind of ancient sun god. Oh, wait. Speaking of, understood. That seems to be quite an important fact. Please add it to your testimony, Miss Woods. Apollo started looking for Bumrat Riney near the witness stand, where there was no rubble. Is that the witness stand there? Okay. I'm gonna present that. Wait, did I press load? Oh, wait, white is highlight. Okay, my bad. That was close. I'm gonna present this.
Objection!
Okay. So you started the search with the witness stand, you say? That's right. I guess maybe you wanted to start from the furthest point in the room. He was being so brave and strong. But that's odd. Under the circumstances, he shouldn't have been capable of that. But he was, and still is. He might not look it, but he really is brave and kind too. Is that the witness stand, or is that the defendant stand? Or are they the same thing? I don't... No, that's not the part I'm finding fault with. Someone has a crush on Apollo. What you are claiming is something that no one should have been able to do. But I should think that anyone can be brave and kind if they wanted to be Mr. Wright. Be Mr. Wright. True, anyone can be brave and kind, but if you would please look at this diagram, with the courtroom in the state, how is it possible to walk up to the witness stand? Oh, I see your point. The rubble blocks off access to the area around the witness stand. Does it? I actually don't know what the courtroom looks like, on God. Like, does such a tiny inconsistency even matter? Perhaps the witness is simply misremembering it. Great, now I'm not so sure it matters. A real man doesn't make mountains of molehills, you know? But that's precisely what Mr. Wright does best. I call slander, Your Honor. So, was it really impossible to approach the witness stand? I have to say, it's a bit hard to tell with any accuracy from just this diagram. Mr. Payne, do you have any other photos of the crime scene? Let me see, Your Honor. Yes, I have one more. Here it is. It's a more pulled-back version of the photo I presented before. It's updated. Huh? What's that hunk of metal and wheels? Mr. Payne, is the metallic object in that photo Mr. Tonate's bomb transport case? That's right. Is there some problem? Yes, that transport case was there in the courtroom number 4 when the bomb went off. It must have been there ever since. Oh, that's it. Miss Woods, have you remembered something? Yes, I just realized its position is different from before. Its position? The position of what? The position of that big metal thing. The bomb transport case? Yes, when Apollo and I went there, it was in a different place. Where the case is in the photo was open space, so it was easy to search the stand. I see. So where was the transport case when you and Mr. Justice saw it? As I recall, I think it was more to the right. To the right? That means, in that case, the case was over there at the time of Apollo Justice attack? Who cares where the transport case was when? Then what difference does it make? It has nothing to do... Where the transport case has everything to do with this discussion. In fact, it's so important that it's enough to turn the prosecution's argument on its ear. What? Well, that certainly sounds very relevant indeed, and you sound as though you know where the case was at the time of the attack. Yes, Your Honor, this diagram represents the crime scene known as as shown in the photo, and this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault on Mr. Justice. Alright, I have this. The bomb transport case was here at the time of Apollo's attack. I'm gonna guess here.
Take that!
Your Honor, I assert that this is where the transport case was at the time of the assault. But that's... inconceivable! Miss Woods, was this where the transport case was when you saw it? Yes, that's where it was. Thank you, Miss Woods. I'm sure the court has noted an interesting fact about this position. The transport case covers up the writing in blood. Exactly. If the transport case was in that position at the time of the assault, then no message could have been written there because the case was in the way, which leads us to conclude that Mr. Justice couldn't have left that bloody writing. Why should we believe the defendant's claim that the case was in a different position? She's obviously lying. The fact that the case was moved after the assault on Mr. Justice is proved by more than Mr. Wood's testimony alone. What? And where is this proof you're talking about? It's right here in the crime photo. I'm keen to see this proof myself, Mr. Wright. What in this photo indicates that the transport case was moved after the assault? Hold on. I've lost my pedal. Okay. The tracks.
Take that!
All the proof you... No. It didn't recognize the tracks. I'm sensing feelings of doubt from you, which means you're taking a wild stab in the dark, aren't you? No! No, I see the tracks. Oh. Okay. Right here. Exactly here.
Take that!
Please take a look at the mark that runs over Mr. Justice's bandages. Blah, blah, blah. Please take a look at the mark that runs over Mr. Justice's bandages here. I see it, but what is it? This mark was made by one of the casters from the transport case carrying the bomb. As the case was moved, it ran over his bandages. In other words, the transport case was originally to the right of Mr. Justice. Then after Mr. Justice was assaulted, the transport case was moved. Just as Miss Wood said, the case was covering the writing at the time of the assault. Therefore, it was impossible for Mr. Justice to have left that message in blood. No! He hates it so much. You did it, boss. It was a real nail biter, but you pulled it off. Yep, that should bring down the prosecution's claim like a house of cards. Order in the court. Mr. Wright, that was a very clever deduction. It was nothing, Your Honor. Nothing but pure genius. Take that. Boss, I'm sensing a definite smug and braggy vibe coming off of you. I have just one question, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. If Mr. Justice didn't leave this message in blood, then who did? Huh? What? Oh. Well, looks like I should have taken that train of thought through to the last station. Well, I've heard a lot about this. So this is Mr. Wright's famous bluffing technique. Is it? This feeling. It brings back memories of the old days. Back when you carved out a name for yourself by bluffing your way through thick and thin. And I've never lost a case. Say something. Gee, Mr. Wright, the judge kind of makes you sound like no better than a 2-bit con man. You made your argument with such confidence, Mr. Wright. Now I'd like to hear your answer with just as much confidence. Hey, did the judge ask the questions you didn't catch on either, Buster? What now, boss? I hope you didn't bluff your way into a corner. Think, Phoenix, think. There must be a way through this. I have to dig my way to the truth somehow. Who could have written that message in blood? I mean, the culprit. If Apollo didn't leave that bloody writing, maybe it was Apollo's attacker who wrote it and made it look like Apollo did it. That seems like the most reasonable explanation. But wait a minute, I just realized something, boss. What is it? Look at the amount of blood in the photo. Doesn't look like Apollo bled very much. I wonder if it's even possible to write out words with just this much. There's also a bit of blood that's missing from the floor. That doesn't make any sense. Words are hard. If I get out my pointer, the old faithful, if you would like to move, can you see? I'll just make this smaller a little bit. Can y'all see that there is a little bit of writing here that seems to be missing because a chunk of the floor is like blown off? Which leads me to believe that this isn't even meant to say Woods at all. Or maybe it isn't, I don't know. But there's something going on here. Right. Good thing Apollo didn't lose that much blood. That might be a factor in why he survived the assault. And since there was so little blood, that pretty much rules out his attacker, huh? I guess so. But if that wasn't his attacker, then who else could it have been? Who could have written that message in blood? Someone else. If it wasn't Apollo, who could have left the bloody message? What do you... Trying to figure out what the game wants from me here.
Take that!
This person? Huh? Huh? What? No.
Take that!
I chose her because my next... Wait, do I not have a photo of... There we go. She lost enough blood there. That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Okay. To be honest, I don't really actually have any real proof of this. Sorry. Boom. But I've come this far. There's no turning back now. Besides Apollo, there was... I thought I heard my doorbell, but there's no way. I'll leave it. Besides Apollo, there was one more person who shed blood at this crime scene. A person who shed blood? You don't mean... Oh, but I do. I believe it was Candace Arm. Is that a pun? I can't catch the pun there. Candace Arm. Can this arm? Like arming a bomb? Can this... Anyway, who left behind this message in blood? What? What? Detective Arm? Are you sure you know what you're doing here? Not really. What kind of ridiculous assertion is that? If you had said the attacker left the message to throw people off, it might have made sense. Can disarm a bomb. There we go. Can disarm a bomb. This game's puns, I swear to God. At first glance, that would seem to... Hold on a second. Is Juniper Woods a pun? I can't figure that one out. Can disarm. Can disarm a bomb. Apollo and Athena are both Greek gods. I'll tell you that one. Psychs because she did psychology? That's what I'm thinking. Gasped in pain. Or gasp in pain. Detonate, yeah. Gotcha. Apollo didn't shed enough blood to write such an extensive message. Uh-oh. I see. Even the photo makes it clear there wasn't enough blood to write all those letters. And Mr. Justice did survive. I suppose he didn't bleed very extensively in that case. Maybe just a plants and flower theme. Probably. She lives in the woods. Or in the forest. Why would Detective Arm write the defendant's name? There is no connection between the two whatsoever. They had never even met each other. That's very true. Well then, let's see. Then maybe the intended meaning of the message is not what it appears to be. The intended meaning? Not what it appears to be? Maybe the message was not intended to be woods. Coming from you, that's quite the bold statement, Mr. Wright. You wish to assert that this bloody writing could have some other meaning? Yes, Your Honor. For something I pulled out of my ass, it could turn out to be true, right?
Objection!
It clearly says woods, as anyone can plainly see. What other meaning could it possibly have? But Candace Arm was a detective. Maybe woods only means something to the police. Like a police scanner code, for example. I didn't think of that. You may have tricked His Honor, but you will never get the best of me. I have a thing for studying on the weekends, as you may have already guessed, and there is no such radio code as woods in the state there, right? Is that a fact? Don't look at me. Don't look at me. I know as much as you do about police codes. Enough of this. I was quite taken with the defense's new theory, but if they can't substantiate it with anything, then I must end things here. No, please wait, Your Honor. Very well, but before we discuss this theory any further, I demand a plausible explanation. So, Mr. Wright, what is the true meaning of the bloody writing? Well, I believe it's... And no stalling. If you can't come up with an answer quickly, I will declare this discussion officially over. Don't do this. Okay. I'm in trouble now. What other meaning could it have besides the obvious one? Whoa. L10015R. L100 1 5R. The R is missing. It was originally the code on the thing, on the transport, but someone cleverly filled in the gaps to make it write woods. Maybe it means something in another language, or maybe it's a code. Think, Phoenix, you can do this. Which piece of evidence is this?
Take that!
The bomb transport case? I've had it up to here with your shenanigans, Mr. Wright. Take a look at the numbers on this case, Your Honor. L10015R. Doesn't this string look vaguely familiar? L100. What does that have to do with anything? What could those numbers possibly have to do with the case at hand? Now, please take a look at the bloody writing shown in the crime photo. I think I see it. That a girl. That's one on my side. It says woods. No. Or you could say it's a horse of a different color, Your Honor. The first character isn't a W. It's actually an L and a 1. The next two are zeros. Oh my goodness. The true meaning behind the bloody writing isn't Miss Wood's name. It's the number engraved on this bomb transport case. What are you talking about? The next part doesn't make any sense. The next number is a 1, but the bloody writing says D. But the number on the case and the bloody writing can be made up to match up quite easily. This is how the number on the transport case can be made to match the bloody writing. Erase. It literally erased 2 lines. Yes. Please erase the third downward stroke of the W and the curved part of the D. Someone played Danganronpa. Well, would you look at that? Lewis? No, Your Honor. It isn't meant to be read as a word. It's the number L10015, which, if you take away the final R, is the exact same number that's on the bomb transport case. Erase 2 lines and they match up, you say? Well, I can change anything into anything else simply by erasing 2 lines. What if we erase 2 lines from your name? Would you be happy as Mr. Wright? Well, would you, Mr. Wright? The only right spelling is right. Okay, I'm doing pretty well here, and I think I've drawn the right conclusion. Detective Arm's real message to us is the bomb transport case number. Your Honor, the 2 lines were added by the real culprit to intentionally mislead people. What? The original message Detective Arm left behind was the transport case number, but whoever assaulted Apollo changed the message. If you're right, boss, then what do you suppose Detective Arm was trying to tell us? Good question. What does this number represent? Do you see this number here? That is my identification number. Brain. Candace Arm lost her life in the courtroom bombing. Her dying message can only have had one purpose. No. To tell us the name of the one responsible for the bombing. Well, don't keep us in suspense, Mr. Wright. Tell us who she was trying to name. I was going to say, I will tell you who the culprit is after this outbreak, but actually I'm going to snooze it. We're popping off right now. Ted Donate.
Take that!
The defense wishes to indict Mr. Ted Donate on the charge of the courtroom bombing. Ted Donate? Apparently, disabling bombs isn't Mr. Tonate's only specialty. Somehow, the victim must have realized that he was the bomber. So when she was caught in the blast, she left this bomb transport case number as her dying message. She used Mr. Tonate's own ID number to finger him for the crime. Why would anyone go out of their way to write an ID number? Wouldn't they simply write the person's name? He's got a good point there. What do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright? That only Detective R would know the answer to that. But allow me to offer a theory. Perhaps Detective Arm couldn't recall Mr. Tonate's name in the heat of the moment. As I recall, this was the first meeting between the two. It's entirely possible they wouldn't have been familiar with each other. Or maybe using the ID number was the way to hide its true meaning from the real culprit, thus lowering the odds that they would erase the bloody writing. But no matter the reason, the important thing is the meaning behind her message. The fact remains she wrote Mr. Tonate's ID number. Now, just one moment here. There hasn't been any proof yet that it was indeed Detective Arm who wrote it. The bloody writing wasn't found during the investigation after the blast. If Detective Arm had left the message, it should have been found at that time. Naturally, Mr. Tonate hid it before anyone could discover it, and there's a simple explanation for how he was able to do so. What? Mr. Tonate was able to cover the message because he was the first to find the body. The first person to discover the bloody writing was Mr. Tonate himself. I was the first one on the scene after the explosion. When Mr. Tonate saw that the victim had written his ID number, he used the bomb transport case to cover up the bloody writing as a stopgap measure. Oh, so that's why the message in blood was under the transport case. He didn't have enough time to try and scrub away the writing. If he didn't report the body right away, he would look suspicious. So those letters lived on to serve another function. When Mr. Tonate used them in another incident. Oh, the assault of Mr. Justice. Exactly. Mr. Tonate hit upon a plan to use the bloody writing for his own purposes. So he didn't clean it away. Instead, he made it look like Mr. Justice wrote it by adding 2 lines to the writing that made Detective Arm left behind. He changed the meaning of the message. He made it look like Mr. Justice was accusing Miss Woods of the attack. So that means the only person who could have altered the bloody writing was the courtroom bomber, who was the same person that assaulted Mr. Justice. And that person is Ted Tonate. You're done. And now that we're done with that, we're going to take our 3-minute break. Looks like we have to hear from the bomb specialist himself. Mr. Payne, please have Mr. Tonate take the witness stand. Yes, Your Honor. That was great, Mr. Wright. Just doing what I do best, which is flying by the seat of my pants. Dismantling the case is yours. Do what you think you can handle it. I look forward to seeing you try. finally drawn Mr. Tornade back onto the witness stand. Looks like you'll get your wish, Goggle Man. Who, me? Now watch me take your lies apart. Mr. Tornade, I'm afraid we have a few more questions for you. I understand the situation, Your Honor. I was keeping a close eye on the proceedings from the gallery. The allegations are all laughable. Bro, you're not beating these ones. I wouldn't be laughing if I were you, Mr. Tornade. The message in blood matches your ID number. The same ID number that is there on that bomb transport case. Such a far-fetched theory, no better than a tangled ball of wires. I'll have them untangled for you in no time at all. You were the first person on the scene after Detective Arm left her message in blood. You were the only one who could have hidden the writing and then used it again later. I see. But then let me ask you, do you have any proof of that Detective Arm wrote that message? That's a very good question. Well, do you, Mr. Wright? The best way to prove that Detective Arm wrote that message is to analyze the DNA. Your Honor, I request that a DNA test be performed on the blood itself. Once we know whose it is, it will be obvious as to who wrote the message. Very well. Bailiff, do that. It will be some time before we have the results of the analysis. Until then, let's hear more from the witness. I would like nothing more, Your Honor. I want the court to hear how ridiculous the defense's theory is. Bro's got red and blue lenses. What is he seeing in 3D? I admit I was the first one on the scene after the explosion, but there was no bloody writing there at the time. Anyway, there is no way Detective Arm could have written it. She struck her head on rubble and died near the courtroom entrance. She was too far away from where the bloody message was found. So you're saying that the victim's body was nowhere near where the writing was? Precisely, it is as plain as day that she could not have written it. It's true that the bloody body was discovered near the entrance of the room. Please have a look at this crime scene photo. As you can see, there is blood on the rubble near the victim's body. She must have died after hitting her head there. She didn't die immediately though. I see. Alright then, Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Do you have what it takes to take my infallible testimony apart?